When the US intervened in World War II upon the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Hollywood came up with a new genre of films that would attract a public interest, the genre of war movies. Therefore, a new female protagonist had to be created for the screen. A noble, assertive, and brave type of woman would be best for the war movies. Greer Garson may have played a set of similar roles throughout her acting career, but her impact on cinemagoers made headlines. And for her contributions in and out of cinema during war, add to her appeal. And on top of that, she received a well-deserved Academy Award in 1943 and was nominated 6 other times for the Best Actress Award. Greer Garson's career went into effect when she was 33 years old. That's quite late for somebody, especially a woman, to start her acting career. The reason being is very much acceptable because prior to stepping into Hollywood, Greer was not sure what to pursue career-wise and opted to attend University of London. This made sense as she was English and very intelligent. Throughout the duration of her literature studies, she had the desire to be an actress. After finishing her degree with honors, Greer worked as a secretary briefly and eventually took on acting. At the age of 27, Greer appeared on stage, notably playing in The Twelfth Night. Garson got really lucky in 1937 when she was 32 because Louis B. Mayer, who we know was head of MGM, was scouting for London talent, and he saw talent, beauty, and strength in Garson, which was perfect for Hollywood. Garson got immediately signed to MGM. And here's a really cool thing. Greer starred in her first ever movie called Goodbye, Mr. Chips in late 1938 and was already nominated for Best Actress at the 1940 Academy Awards for her role in this film. But obviously she lost to Vivien Leigh. But I guess the saying, good things come to those who wait, is very fitting here. Greer consequently was hit with a wave of similar Hollywood roles of loyal and nurturing women like in Pride and Prejudice, Blossoms in the Dust, and Random Harvest. But Greer's next gig was a huge hit, since it was a commentary on World War II. Mrs. Miniver came out in 1942, and this female-driven story solidified Garson as an effective actress. And for her performance, she was awarded the Best Actress Academy Award in 1943. Her Oscar speech is the longest in Oscar history. It was 5.5 minutes long. And much like later Oscar winners like Meryl Streep and Kate Winslet, Greer was specialized in only playing the motherly, noble, and mature women who face hardships with dignity and maturity. But unlike Streep and Winslet, who have a few sprinkling of unconventional roles, Greer Garson remained to play the same type of woman in her films following her Oscar win. On top of her fame, Greer's marriage to Mrs. Miniver co-star Richard Ney, who was a lot younger than her, received a lot of public scrutiny. They eventually divorced and Greer remarried to a Texas millionaire. Greer continued her career and starred in Madame Curie, The Valley of Decision, Adventure, and Mrs. Parkington. Greer stayed with MGM until 1954, even though it is clear that they disregarded her longing to expand to play different roles. Even at the beginning of her Hollywood career, they tried to put Greer on a strict diet for her to starve herself to be a smaller size. MGM had full autonomy over Greer's career moves and her looks. Nonetheless, she was getting Oscar nomination year in and year out for her performances throughout the 1940s. But when the war ended, so did Greer's fame. Her films were becoming box office fails by the end of the 1950s, and even though she got nominated one more final time in 1961 for her role in Sunrise at Campobello, her Hollywood flame died out just as quickly as it was ignited. And it was difficult for her to reignite her popularity, even after a few random TV and film appearances. But we know that Garson had brains that matched her beauty, and that she was more than just an actress. She went on to philanthropic ventures, which solidifies her as a noble and giving woman on and off screen. Greer was nominated for an Academy Award 5 years in a row in 1941, 42, 43, 44, and 45. She holds the record for most consecutive nominations with Bette Davis. She was the third British actress who had won the Best Actress Academy Award. The previous Brits were Vivien Leigh and Joan Fontaine. Their lives and careers are just as fascinating, so check out my previous videos too. And Greer said this about her work: "Starting out to make money is the greatest mistake in life. Do what you feel you have a flair for doing, and if you are good enough at it, the money will come." Greer goes down in history as a very loved figure of female strength and resilience throughout the 1940s era of war cinema. Upon her arrival to Hollywood, the tall Englishwoman struggled to fit into the typical girly, skinny, and bubbly mold, and found herself to be typecast as a female war figure in films. Her effective voice, mature look, and intellect secured her many distinctions, including the Oscar, which puts her down in history as an icon of female-driven films.